We're doing a podcast with these guys, so we're gonna go do that.
Hello.
I love
Hi,
that.
everybody.
That color is so good. All right, so
But we're gonna
congratulations
keep
for
pushing.
everything.
Congratulations,
Have fun.
everybody.
And then we'll see
We
over
talk
here
about it
and
all
we're
the time.
talking.
We talk about it
We're
as
talking.
an editing accomplishment of a new language. That's what we're pushing.
Yay!
That was kind of the perfect way to meet you guys, I think, by being around a whole room full or lobby full of filmmakers, because you knew every single person.
Well, they were all the same group. That was an easy one.
Well, but then there was Courtney Sistine before that.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it was that whole group. That group was.
So that's the group of the team from The Perfect Neighbor, who are incredible. Obviously, you know, Guido, Lisa, and Ikan. They're just wonderful in the film we love. We saw here last year, like you guys. And we're just so excited for them. And they also have a short that's nominated.
busy people.
Yeah.
Are you involved?
No.
No. Okay. You're just
We're just friends
you're
and
just
fans.
excited for your friends.
Yeah, exactly.
That is a perfect encapsulation of how I feel the documentary community functions, which is like
On a good day.
on a good.
There are competitive people too.
That's true, but I think in general it's the idea of like rising tide lifts all boats,
Yes.
and you know, when a documentary
That's
succeeds,
absolutely.
we all succeed, and at least that's my very rosy.
No, I completely agree, and that's kind of like the philosophy that you know, kind of we come from as well. So it's
It's like being part of the dialogue. It's like you're making films and your friends are making films, and you feel like they're filling in spaces that you're never going to get to, but you're loving what they're doing too.
Yeah.
Just kind of, it creates kind of this lattice of trying to
excited.
understand
Like
what's
that film
going
is
on.
incredible,
Right.
you know, and that opportunity
film
and the
is
ability that they had to make it and to elevate it the way they did. You know, there's a lot of the films that are shortlisted are really wonderful.
There's something about a film.
Or
Every once,
nominated.
it used to happen less. It's infrequent, but when you see a movie and you walk out and you say, "I've never seen that movie before."
Yeah,
Right.
When you say, "This is a brand new thing,"
which is rarer with fiction.
it's
these
great,
days.
and that's what
Yeah.
Vita's film really was.
Yeah.
I felt like, wow, you've really utilized a source material in a brilliant way that immersed us in the human experience, which is exactly what you're going for.
That's amazing.
So I'm going to jump in here, Ben.
I was going to say
And
we
I-
should introduce our.
Well, I'm going to
guests
say,
here.
let's not
Who are
introduce
these
these
people?
folks, because I want to tell these people what's going on, which is that I'm Keith Malin, that's Ben Steinbauer, this is Doc Walks. We're in Park City, Utah for Sundance 2026. We started en media race, as they say, with watching our special guest right here say goodbye to their special friends, the, as of last week, nominated documentary filmmakers behind A Perfect Neighbor, which premiered here at Sundance last year. And that is what is going on. That is why we're here. We're sponsored this episode by the Austin Film Society.
Yes, we are.
Hey.
Oh, cool.
Our friends at the Longtime.
And our
in
friends at the
Austin.
Longtime, shout out.
And in one moment, we're going to play that little music that starts this podcast. And when we come back, we are going to introduce you to these delightful people. To my right, to Ben's left. But first,
Do 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 do.
doo-doo-doo-doo-doo,
Theme song.
and cut.
On your left.
You're listening to Doc Walks with Ben and Keith.
Are back. And we're on the little nature trail. We're just off Main Street. And we are pleased to introduce you to our special guests.
Julie Goldman
And
and
Chris
Chris Clements. That's right. Would you go by Chris or Christopher? I always call you Chris.
I'm Chris. Outside in my credits, I always go Christopher because my mom named me that. Stick to it.
She would be very annoyed.
Well, I'm happy to
She'd be annoyed otherwise.
So Julie and Chris are the longtime producers behind Motto Pictures.
Yes.
And
When people ask me about you, Julie and Chris, I always say, well, you know Motto, and I swear 9 out of 10 people who know anything about the doc community go, oh yeah, of course, Motto Pictures, because I feel like you guys are synonymous with quality films that are able to get funding and then distribution. So could you just give
the
us
goal.
could you just give us like a greatest hits, like how about like
look, before we jump into the great hits, we have to take 1 second to acknowledge.
great.
oh
yes.
whoa,
Yeah.
amazing.
What we're seeing here for people, you know, we mentioned before that this is a video podcast for people who choose to watch it, but a big portion of our audience is also listening. So we like to tell them what we're looking at. What are you seeing?
Word picture, a lot of boots, sneakers, what do you call it? Like you would have in a lamppost in Brooklyn.
We used to throw them over wires in Brooklyn.
Last day of school.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah,
pairs
they're
of
like, you know, old
shoes.
heads.
Yeah.
I see everything from a pair of slippers over there to ski boots, which that's an expensive thing to do to
It's
throw
also
ski
only
boots.
parts
like
That was a lot of
I can
effort.
afford to
though,
do
too. A lot of weight. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right.
I wonder
underneath
if
it.
these are like the shoes that people leave behind, and like the hotel just like comes here and throws them in the train.
This doesn't feel like a hotel operation. This feels like an ad hoc operation.
But this also feels a little bit like a message of Sundance 2026.
You're out.
Stories we left behind.
Yes,
Oh
I
my
love
goodness!
Wow,
Yes,
that could
right.
already be our episode title. It usually
Yes.
takes us a whole hour to stumble into a phrase that works, but the stories we left
Put
behind.
that on the list.
Yeah, that's a contender.
Well, speaking of contenders, back to Julie and Chris, who are not only contenders, they're succeeders, they're successors, they're mentors, they're producers. Well, tell us about Motto.
Good.
We started Motto basically without any.
Around 15 years ago?
Second. What was Buck? Buck was
2010. So yeah, like
2010.
15, 16,
and
29.
we started with a filmmaker who wasn't a filmmaker. She was just a photographer, and we were trying to find a filmmaker to make this film, Buck Branham, and
The real life horse whisperer.
life horse whisperer. And we realized as we searched for a director that she was the director. She just hadn't directed, and we knew that we could help her do this because she was a photographer and she knew how to get a frame. And we kind of turned her into a filmmaker. She could have kept going. She chose not to. Now she's
She's a producer. Yeah.
But that was like the
Oh, she
start.
just made another film though. Actually, she had directed her second film.
That's true.
Right, or third. She's done 3 films.
Cindy.
We're not giving Cindy enough credit.
Yeah, we're not giving.
But yeah, she and we had like surrounded her with people like with like Andrea Medic, who was a consulting producer on it and amazing person, and Toby Shimon to edit, and it ended up being a great experience. And it was here at Sundance, and it won like the audience award.
It did really well.
And Robert Redford was in it. It was because he.
That's a good
worked
way to
with
get
Buck.
on into Sundance.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm shifting it in. He worked with Buck as his advisor when he did The Horse Whisperer.
Oh, cool.
So that kind of set, I think, us up.
Yeah.
Beautiful bird right there.
We call it the tuxedo pigeon.
Oh yeah.
That, yes.
Does it get a shot of that?
It's beautiful.
Oh, beautiful.
You know, this is
a
actually a throwback
Oh, it's a
to our
magpie.
second episode when we came to Sundance, and Keith was trying to make our film podcast a bird watching podcast.
I like to describe what I see, and the birds, they call to me.
Yeah, especially magpie. Lovely.
Exactly.
Didn't we find out it's not actually called the tuxedo pigeon?
It's the magpie. Yes.
the magpie.
Yeah.
But I'm going to keep calling it tuxedo pigeon. That's what
I feel like it's important to stop and mention that you guys, in addition to being business partners, are also life partners. And
Yes,
I feel like
can you
that,
imagine?
I feel like that was well illustrated in the description of how Motto came to be,
Yes.
where there was some arguing about the dates.
Always.
And,
Oh, we argue all the time. That is, but that's if you don't, we can't.
We just found out that somebody who we know is on the other side of the wall. I was like, get ready, you're gonna hear us like we we both grew up in New York. Chris is from Brooklyn. I'm like the Bronx and Manhattan, and so we are extremely loud generally because that's how we were raised to be.
I love
It's
it.
our culture.
I'm always so interested to hear people's description of this because I feel like it's subtly different every time, but I'm curious to know, and I'm sure you've been asked this a million times, how do you maintain a work-life balance when you work together so passionately, so closely on something like documentaries that take such like commitment and around-the-clock attention and that sort of thing? So how do you guys navigate
Well, it's
that?
definitely a vocation, not a job. So you're living your life while you're making the movies. It's not like it's hard to relax. It's hard
Right.
to turn off. But quite here was our trick. We realized we started in college even
Oh,
realizing.
yeah, we went
to Brooklyn College.
With Brooklyn College Film School.
Wonderful time
Cool.
there.
Okay.
We realized you had to have at least 2 films going at the same time because you're going to be obstructed no matter what, and you'll waste time if you only have one, so you need to be able to switch over. And over the years, we kind of built that up so that we would have 8, 9 projects going all
At
the
Motto.
time.
Yeah.
And at Motto, they're at different stages. Some are developing, some are getting close to finished. And what that does, I think, what it keeps the balance in, so we're always doing all of it. Sometimes we're in the middle, sometimes we're mixing, sometimes we're just, I love to do decks because the decks get you into the mindset of the themes and the ideas that are going to inform the whole thing.
Right.
And it's something you can go back to when you lose yourself while you're shooting.
That's really interesting because we're working together on a project, and one thing that I recognized right off the bat, one of our first calls, you rescheduled because you were on set, and I thought that was so interesting because my understanding of how you guys work was that you were more, helping to get financing
Oh,
and
that's so
distribution.
Yeah,
and
no,
the fact that you guys were like in the weeds and on set was really
We're
cool.
very much of like that creative producers, the idea of creative producers or even creative executive producers. So Chris,
some filmmakers don't like it.
yeah, but
Because we
Name
tell
names,
them,
you can feel free.
no, but we do this. We're starting now to say, we're going to be all in your wheelhouse. So we're going to be talking about everything with you. We're not forcing anything. We tend to do this. Like a lot of films come to us where they already have some stuff shot and we have a sense of it. And we look and we say, oh, wow, we could see this film going in 3, maybe 4 different directions. Any one of those could really work with this material. And then we get into a dialogue, and if the filmmaker is kind of going in the similar direction, we realize, okay, this is something where we can really work together.
Yeah,
If they have an agenda that seems to supersede what the material promises, we back away because we realize, oh, it's going to be a tug of war. They're going to keep trying to wedge in things that I don't know that they accomplished
right.
in the shooting, and I don't know that they could get, perhaps.
Yeah.
I mean, we're very involved with like, you know, sometimes we don't go to shoots because we want to have a shoot that's like the tiniest footprint possible, as we all know with documentaries, because you have a sensitive situation or you, for whatever reason, you want that. But what we've started to do, which is to have a setup with Zoom, so we're actually, even if we're not at the shoot, we're watching it and we can like, in between when we're taking breaks, when they're taking a break or resetting, we can have a conversation with the director and talk about what's going on.
That's such a great idea.
Even live, we send notes sometimes through, like, we'll have Kendall or one of our colleagues from Mata will be there, and we'll send them so that while they have the person there, they'll have said something, but the director may not have thought, oh, this is a good follow-up question. I'll take us, you're not. One of us will write that and say, flip this to the director.
I love that because we did that we were shooting at the height of COVID, but we made a Kid Rock documentary with Danny McBride as the executive producer. Long story, never came out for lots of reasons.
First of all, it was Kid Rock.
That's reason number 1. Yes.
1, 2, and 3, really.
But it was often very funny because the people we were interviewing just had these wild stories, and we got to the point where we were interviewing his bandmates, and we would have the editor who was editing the movie listening to the interviews as we were going.
That's really smart.
It was so helpful because he would do exactly what you just said, Chris, where if there was a funny line and I would miss a follow-up joke, he would be like, get him to prompt him with this, and then we would often get like the button or like a little laugh out loud moment from that. And I had never done that before, and it was super helpful.
It's like brain share because you're out there, you're the point talking to the person. You can't be completely
You're immersed.
You're immersed in that. So if we're all kind of clear on what the objective is, we can all bring kind of all of our sensibilities to it.
Yeah.
And the most of the filmmakers we work with are really, really amenable to it.
Yeah.
We find different ways to communicate so as not to muss up there. Everyone has a different process, but we find a way to make sure that we can communicate.
That's really
I had to put a number on it. How many projects are living in your brain at a moment, in post, in production, in development, pitches that you've heard that you're considering?
8 to 10.
8 to 10 is a fair assessment. And I will say that this is also something that is really helpful. When you do have a problem with one film, you stop and you say, I don't have the solution for this. But you have all these others that you have to work on, so you shift over.
Right.
And when you shift over, it changes your objective, your mission is totally different.
Sure.
And that's when it frees up. When you finish what you were doing for the other project, you'll wake up the next morning and there will probably be a solution of some sort there.
Yes.
I just find that the parallel action is really our best friend in really managing the both.
But the key and the most important thing is that when we're like focusing on one project, that's what we're focusing on. We're not thinking and talking about other ones. And I think that's why filmmakers don't feel like, oh, you're doing 12 other things. Because when we're with them, we're with them. And that's kind of always been the ethos, that like it's one thing at a time. And then immediately you turn to something else. But yeah.
Right.
And do you divide and conquer?
Well, we have like complementary skill set, I would say.
That's fair.
Where I'm kind of like a bit of a bird's eye view of things, like a lot of the kind of like the fundraising, the kind of how we're gonna position the film, that kind of thing is more my wheelhouse. And Chris will like
Good
watch
strategy.
all the footage and be really across everything and be very deep in the edit. And I will watch cuts and be deep in the edit as well, but he's like in there on a different layer.
I appreciate that. You know, I did a call with Chris and Julie last fall. We were talking about an animated element for one of your projects.
Yes.
And it was interesting because there were several execs on the call, and mostly we were talking about like big picture kind of questions, like approach dealing with animation.
Yeah.
But then the second we started getting into creative, Chris lit up and we went back and forth on 5 or 6 different little creative ideas. And I realized, like, I saw in you, like, oh, I think he'd be glad to have this conversation for the next hour. I know I certainly would.
I do. That is, I go on because I like the back and forth because it enhances everything for you and me, right?
Well, it was just fun. I mean, it was fun.
Great.
You know,
It's fun.
once you start talking about like the creative, you know, so many of us have to wear different hats, right? We have to be a producer. We have to be a director. Producers have to think creatively. We all have to be able to kind of wear different hats and step into other people's shoes.
Utterly.
But there's also kind of like what brings our heart to the surface, or what brings the blood to the surface, right?
Yeah,
Our
exactly.
pulse. And so that strategy side for you, Julie, when did you feel like you were hitting your stride?
That's a good question. I mean, I've been doing that part of it for a long time. I mean, I came from having like experience in sales, and I did
Film sales?
a documentary
Okay.
and international.
college?
Yeah, while we were in college, I worked for like first run features at Gris Films.
Oh, no way.
And I
That's
did
cool.
like domestic sales to like the non-theatrical and that market, but then I did international sales and co-productions, and so that kind of always had switched my brain into that gear.
Sure.
So it's kind of a weird background, but it really works.
Oh, it's
Well,
so
that's
helpful.
Rare knowledge,
Yes.
you know, on our side of things, like anybody who's got a key into that world.
I mean, there's still people so many years ago who I will see like from Arte or whatever, and they're still there. I'm like, oh my God, they got a life.
Julie used to memorize all the phone numbers for like all the different people she sold to, and so you knew all the prefix numbers for every
Back
state.
when you had to do that. yeah.
Oh, wow. That's what.
And then
you know,
Chris is like a real, like an incredible writer, and so he also can like take the decks and really shape them and, you know, work on that part of it and the kind of like the outlines and all of it. So I think it's like a really kind of, it really is complementary.
Yeah, I think that we've had. I will say, we started,
Which is part of why like we stay married, I think. If it wasn't, we'd feel each other. Yeah, go ahead, sorry.
Right. No, because before we started this company, we made films under other guises and made different documentaries and things. But we did a feature, and we produced it on credit cards.
Yeah, back
Because
when that was
it was insane.
Yeah.
But we were young and we had deniability, and we said, I think I'm going to do this. And our professor told us to do this, Bill Hornsby.
oh boy, so
He said-
he's responsible.
Totally.
He's like, you see all these people around the campus that are offering your credit cards? Sign up to every one
Yep.
of them. Buy a small amount of things for 3 months and pay it off. And then every 3 months you can get it raised, right? Your limit raised. When you hit your budget, shoot your film. And we were dumb enough and young enough to do that. And it was
This
crazy.
sounds like a real 1991 story.
Yeah.
It's back there.
Yeah, not quite.
It's not quite that far.
Okay.
It's back there. And you cut to Julie and Chris screaming on the street saying, what are we going to do? But we did finish the film.
Yeah.
It went out. It was on VHS. It was in stores and stuff. And we were
it was on-
thrilled.
yeah.
And that's a stepping stone. It didn't make
Yeah.
us any money or anything, but
it
it
made back its money.
it made
like,
back
through
its money
international and
Yeah.
barely.
Successful first run.
And I'm
Yeah.
like, this is fine.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
Well,
was
I'm
a great
curious.
experience.
I'm curious to know. Speaking of film school, you guys mentioned you met there.
Yeah.
You know, scrimped and saved and probably made poor financial decisions to making that first.
Give all your money to Kodak and do art.
What was it about producing that you guys were drawn to versus like directing, for example? Because it sounds like you had the-
directed.
Well, I've directed before, and I liked it a lot. I thought it was really, I like to collaborate, and I always feel like I'm enhanced when I'm working with someone else. And I think that was probably it. I started to realize that maybe my skill is seeing capacity in other people, and it's easier for me to be a producer and be able to, because a lot of times people are really talented, but they can't see how far they could go. And then there are others who aren't, who think they could go very far.
Right.
I like the first part of that. I don't know the second.
When we see people like that, we're like, this is something. Like I always feel like that with like Man Fu and Mai
They're
Tai.
amazing. They're
Like we these are people that we love. They're
like brilliant.
brilliant and alive, and that's kind of what we're always looking for. That it can be this kind of vibrant experience from stem
Roger.
to stern. Roger is
Roger Russwood.
Roger is like, we're doing something with him right now with two things.
We can't say what they are.
I can't say what they are.
But we could talk about Life Animated, which you guys did. That
I do want to say, I always wanted to be a producer. Even in film school, I was like, I knew that's what I wanted to do. I never wanted to direct.
And how did you know that? What was it about?
Because I produced somebody's film and I was like, this.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a second unit director.
Yeah.
I was being realistic.
Yeah.
And this was back when they had live, like large-scale action things, and I loved engineering mechanical things like crashes and things like that. And I did like a crazy car crash film when I was in college. And
Oh, yes, you did.
And I thought, like, I was so foolish because it was so reckless. But I thought, oh, they'll see this and they'll say, look, he did this for like 10 grand. Let's hire him.
Right.
And it's like, it never happened, but it did. Again, it's another one of those things where you're like, aha, I should do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's do this next thing that I'm thinking about.
Yeah, everything is the next step.
Yeah.
But Life Animated, it's funny you say that because when we were originally walking,
Yeah.
I was like, oh, there's the pool at this place. And I always think of Owen Suskind, who is the main subject of Life Animated. And Owen's like relaxing thing after a screening, which was intense for him. He's an autistic young man and it's a lot of input, but he loved it. But then he was like, I'm done. I want to go to the pool. I want to go back to the room and have a cheeseburger. I want to watch some Disney film.
3 movies laid out, ready to go.
Wow.
This was his. I learned a lot from being around him because I realized, wow, you could shape your own life.
Yeah.
You know, you don't have to follow everything that's going on. It was very, very liberating.
Yeah.
But that was an amazing family.
It's so
Whole
beautiful.
family. We're still in touch with them.
We love them.
They're
great.
wonderful.
Wow. You're basically saying it with all these stories that you're telling us about how you work and who you work with and the kind of subject you're drawn to. But is there sort of like what's the right word? Like a mission statement or ethos to Motto Pictures? Like if you were to sum up like the kind of work you're drawing.
What is the motto?
I did come up with this one, but it was a joke, which was dragging filmmakers kicking and screaming to their best work for over however many years.
Yes.
I was thinking when we hit
that'd go great
20,
on a
maybe we
shirt.
would put that on a shirt. But that's, it really wasn't.
It's
not
really
that
no,
harsh.
it's not. I mean, I think it's
Kind of any story.
telling stories that mean something to us with people that we enjoy working with. I mean, I don't know, that's so simple.
Yeah, no, I think it's also, if you're curious, if you find the world curious and you can get into somebody else's passion, when you watch a documentary about something you would never do in a million years, but you could understand the passion.
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of, I think, which kind of drives us,
I love that.
Yeah.
I think that it's that we hook into stories that we never knew existed. Like Chicken People is a perfect example. I never knew
that's
that.
a great one. Love that movie.
And I learned so much about chickens that I would never know.
I'm not familiar.
Oh.
Chicken People.
It's so
It's like
interesting.
Best of Show with chickens.
Oh,
Okay.
that's a
Who
good
knew
pitch. Yes, it is.
that they have
Except for real.
Yeah,
This is-
true.
since like 1890
Yeah, but it
they
doesn't
have
say
had
real.
the articles of perfection, and every subdivision of chicken has a measurement for everything, for the
I was just
waddle,
thinking
for the and I came from Brooklyn. I grew up in Brooklyn, but now I know.
I don't know
a whole
from
bunch of-
chickens.
I can look at a chicken and say, "Nice waddle."
I go to the chicken and say, needs a little salt.
I'm going to come up with a motto before or after this podcast.
Yeah, we
That's
should have a name like
we can
motto.
update. We can always update.
We used to have updates, we used to update like on our website and different mottos, quotations, but we stopped
Oh, that's cool.
pretty early.
We've gone through several tunnels, and the conversation has been flowing so naturally, but we haven't been commenting
On the
tunnels, on the murals. And I want to say we walked through a tunnel that was all about the art of, or the slog that is the labor of working in mines, which I guess is what people used to do out here.
Yes, this was a mining town.
And it was right when you guys were describing your work life, and I didn't want to interrupt.
Oh my
to
God!
make
And I
that.
looked right through it.
Right?
I did not see that.
This is a little like crumb-ish.
Yeah.
There you go.
Little crumb-ish.
It is a little R crumb, yeah. Although
like
there's a film
It's a
camera
very
right here.
1930s
Oh, yeah.
style.
They're
Appreciation.
going to erase that after Sundance moves. They're going to make that into something else.
That's right. What would it be? Like a pair of ski boots?
Yeah, exactly.
Or...
In a prayer for snow.
Walking through the tunnel with Julie and Chris, we see a light at the end of the tunnel.
We do.
What is the light at the end of the tunnel for doc filmmaking in the industry right now?
I think it's that, it's always these extremes of people saying it's the golden age, it's the death. There's a line, and if you've been doing this for a long time, I think you see that line, and there's moments that are more advantageous for us, and there are moments that feel like there's a real dearth of opportunities, but at some point there's always something else that comes, and there's some way that we find other outlets and other opportunities. I don't like to say like it's dead, you know. I think it's too easy.
Yeah.
It's not. I mean, because the world just keeps spinning and stuff keeps happening, and we're always going to have to try to get our arms and our brains around what's going on, and stories are the best way to do it. And, you know, it's healthy to have, like, I like the investigative work, that where we work on investigative journalism stuff. I find it very interesting because I find, like we did a thing on Robert Fisk, and he was a fascinating person, and he like the filmmaker was with him, and I forgot where they were. They were some like in Jakarta or something like that. But he was so known as a, you know, like a kind of an activist journalist that he explains to Young, the director. He's like, there is a coffee place 3 stalls down. Like when he comes in, they come in on the plane. Hang out there. I'll be there in about 3-4 hours, because he knew that they would take him in, because he's always taken in, and they went through everything he had, and they thought it's hard drive, and they're copying everything, and then he just comes back out. It's like it's the price of doing business for him. And so you meet these people, and you get to know that people operate.
Robert Fisk. It's like such a weird life in that way. You have this kind of strange series of people that you find and connect with, and sometimes stay in touch with.
Well, it sounds like, in the case of the Life Animated folks,
Oh, in a lot of the cases, we're still in touch with people.
Yeah.
Well, let's go back to that transition moment when you were going from, Julie, you were going from being in sales.
Yeah.
Chris, you were scratching creative itches, trying for second unit directing and some writing. And where did your partnership as producers kind of congeal after you made that credit card film? Is Motto the next chapter, or where do you guys go from there?
I think we were still with our Central Films thing, which was and we made a film on the X-Files under that.
The fans of the X-Files.
The fans of the X-Files up in the 90s. And this was actually one of the first times the internet affected a show where it was like...
Kept it alive. Originally,
Very
it was a big
interesting, and that was like one of the early investigative. And it was a co-director thing. I co-directed with another director, with Maria Bowen.
Who went to school with her.
Went to school with as well. And Julie produced. And I think that's when, right after that, I think we shifted. I made a short animation.
And I had a job to make money, which turned out to be okay at Wellspring.
Well, we had insurance.
That is okay.
Which is
that
like
helps.
Wellspring spawned a lot of people that, like, you know, that are great, like Marie Therese and Ryan Werner and
Oh, that's cool.
Julia Pachetti. Good people.
Awesome. Yeah,
So
wow.
good.
Yeah, it's like a doc filmmaker factory.
It was Richard Lorber's company.
Oh, okay. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
How cool. Well, I'm curious to know why documentary and not, you mentioned shooting second unit for action films. Like, you know, I think documentary, I've described it as, to use a football analogy, documentarians are like the offensive linemen of the entertainment industry, meaning often overlooked, unrecognized, but central to sort of the heart and soul of the endeavor. So I just wonder what it is about documentary that keeps you guys coming back, that you've wanted to devote
Well, the question is, do you agree? Because I don't know that I agree with that analogy. You brought that up several times, this O-lineman.
Yeah.
I wonder if they agree.
I'm not good with the football analogy, so you go.
Well, I get the linemen, because without them it wouldn't even be a game.
Well, meaning the quarterback gets the credit, right? Like you know, the linemen are not the stars, but they're integral.
But that's the same with like directors and producers in fiction.
Yeah.
Like we have friends who are
Here's a
great
tricky thing. I think
fiction
we're
producers.
more like the defensive coach instead of the lineman in particular, because I think we have more to do. Like, those guys are the wall, but I think we also have the, like, you know, all the coverage people and everything. We talk about the strategy, and it goes back to that thing when you see capacity. Where you say, I know you can get here.
Right. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I'll show you
I didn't think
how.
you were going to be talking in depthly about football.
Well, and I want to say, I wasn't looking to stretch the metaphor anywhere, but I like what Chris is saying about defense, because the reality is, like, I'm going to make a dumb statement that I think the nonfiction side of the business is the defense, and the fiction side is the offense.
Wow.
And so people pay attention to the score, and the quarterback and the receivers and the running backs are the stars of the show. But championships are won on defense. Defense not only has to have a strategy, but it has to be able to react to the moment.
Yes, that's it. Exactly. And I think that's what documentary is.
It's all about reaction.
Yes, utterly. there are so many times where we go in with a thesis and we get in a certain distance and we're like, oh, we were wrong.
Yeah.
And then you either retool it or you back away, and
Yes.
we backed away from something once after a while because we realized the thesis doesn't work,
Yeah.
and the filmmakers were not so certain that they thought they could go on.
There
and
should be a
stepped
name
away.
for that thing that we talk about a lot with, and we're always talking to nonfiction creators. And we always talk about nobody knows the third act when they get started, and if they do, they're a fool because it's not where it's going to end up. If it does end up there, they didn't make a very good film.
Exactly.
But that moment of recognition, when you've got to pivot, when you come to recognize, and I don't mean like the early moment was it the Capturing the Freedmen's moment where you set out to make a movie about clowns,
Yeah.
but you pitched the other movie,
Yeah.
right? But more the moment that every good doc kind of goes through,
Yeah.
where you thought it was about this, but you realized it was about that.
Oh,
Yes.
utterly.
Yeah.
Yes. I love that though. That's a magic moment. It's like sprung on you.
Yeah.
You've built this whole infrastructure and you didn't even realize it. And then
And
if
it's
you step
unfolding
into
in
it,
front of you, and if you're open to it,
yeah.
you're going to see that okay, wait a minute, this is really an opportunity, and we have to be
we always say,
and you have to be fluid with it.
Yeah.
What were you going to say?
yeah, exactly. What you're saying, like, don't be afraid of making the film you shot,
Yeah.
because it might not be the thing you intended, but the one you shot frequently is better.
Is better.
Yeah.
Yes, and that's what keeps me coming back to documentary, because I feel like it's this sort of life lesson in a way, where it's like you head in a direction with the best of intentions, and what happens is often better than you could have predicted.
Yeah.
But you have to stay open and improvise.
I think you have to get really comfortable with being in doubt.
Yeah.
I think that's your best friend. If you're certain, you're almost certainly driving along a line somebody else has already driven along.
Right.
And that's where the certainty is coming from.
Yeah.
So if you're uncertain, but it's resonating with you, that's a sign
I
that
like
you may be
that.
finding something new.
Right.
I'll tell you where we're finding a space in fiction is in the kind of our films have been remade essentially.
Oh,
And
interesting.
the documentary is the IP. So
Interesting.
we did a short with Roger that was like for New Yorker Presents, and
Yeah.
then he optioned the person's life story, Saul, and then we made Cassandra, which was
Cool.
his feature directing debut with Gael Garcia Bernal.
Right.
Yeah. Brilliant experience.
Yeah, great
And
experience.
then-
Mole Agent.
And The Mole Agent has become the series A Man on the Inside.
Right.
We became friendly with one of the producers, Morgan Sackett.
Yeah, and we just hung out.
Is like a showrunner who's an executive producer on everything. He's amazing. And so we just started to we would invite each other to things or share links. And we sent him The Mole Agent just because we thought he'd like it. And then he called and he was like, I love this. This is a remake. And this should be a series or a film. And we were like, well, somebody kind of has the rights and it's a messy situation. So he's like, okay. And then like a year later, we saw him at the PGA Awards, and he was like, what happened to The Mole Agent? And I was like, are you serious about this? I said, yeah. And we were like,
said,
okay.
All right, I'm unleashing myself.
We're out of this other situation, and we did. Because the option was never
Actually,
really finalized,
right.
and we didn't want to work with those people. So we went back.
And we should speak to Mike Shore and that team,
Yeah.
who the first season was like first of all, my favorite thing was they pitched us, and like the stuff they pitched us was stuff that was in our documentary.
Yeah.
We couldn't make it work. We took it out. They intuited that stuff exists.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
no
wrote
way.
The world
stuff
of this
for
story.
it.
Yes.
That's
And
so
I was
cool.
like, this is
They're like on the right mind, and
and they really cared about the
so
documentary. It
respectful
was
and
so
like
nice, so
and wonderful about the documentary, and they so respected Maite and us and Marcella, who produced it. And
What
we
a great experience.
we went to the set. We've gone to the set for both seasons, and we see every script, we see every cut.
Wow. Wow. I
Yeah.
love this because I'm a huge baseball fan.
Yeah.
And I'm also a fan of Mike Shore. And I just found out he does a baseball podcast.
Yes, he
With a
does.
very famous baseball writer. And
Is
I
he your
have
friend?
Ken
no-
Levine?
No, it's Joe Posnowski.
Okay.
He wrote the Baseball 100. But how he finds time to make all his work
know.
and to do a baseball podcast and know everything about professional sports blows my mind.
He's such a brilliant guy, but he's also I could imagine how he does that because
I can too.
you could see him compartmentalizing into all of these things and being able to develop a new show and work on this and figure it out in a really tender and respectful way.
Yeah,
Every step of the way they were.
absolutely. He was working on something when we were talking to him about this. It had something to do with baseball. But
Yeah.
I'm sure he's going to do it at some point because it's a really good idea. But we were just talking about this actually. Good ideas can't, we've had so many different friends who had things that were just going gangbusters. You're like, this is an amazing story. And you're like, can you get it out there? And I really feel that there's kind of a breaking point coming up where we're going to start seeing movies coming out a bit more with voices.
What do you mean?
Like even the short that we have here with Alexandra. We have
Kind of refuge.
some kind of refuge.
This is a short doc that's playing
Let's hear it.
at
Yeah,
the
it's
festival.
Sundance.
Okay.
The objectives are shifting in a way that I think that the stories are going to be more embraced. And I think whenever we get past, I have a theory about AI and why it's going to fail.
Ooh, let's hear it.
AI doesn't understand doubt. Doubt is the basis of everything we do. Everything that's you're trying to say something that you're passionate about right now, and it's alive. All it's ever going to do is tell us old passion. And so it's a great mimic, but it's dangerous to think that it will ever come up with something that breathes
Right.
the way something that a human makes.
Yes.
Speaking of breathing like humans, can we go breathe our way into those bells?
I need to go.
You guys comfortable trogging across this?
I just think it's been oversold to us, and I think that when that clears, when the fog clears,
Yes.
we're going to realize we're going to need all the artists. This will be a tool for us. We're using it in animation, and it's brilliant.
Right.
But you don't leave it up to the AI.
No.
You tell the AI what to do.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we're going to be doing.
I hope so. I mean, that's the way that we're using it now, right? I mean, it's a supplemental tool, and it's pretty amazing as that.
Utterly, it's a great tool, but this is an industry that has oversold what it's been selling us forever.
This is a pretty wild concert Drew is putting on for us.
I'm not going to be a professional bell player.
But this is just something that plays into the sad Park City of 2027 narrative. The shoes hanging, the sad bells, bunch of things.
We're doing a baseball film now.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, about Joe
it's
Torre.
very interesting.
About Joe Torre?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing.
What a lovely
He's
guy.
really cool.
He really was. His story about winning the World Series.
Oh, yeah.
It's brings me to tears every time I hear it. It's so
And
incredible.
he's such a that's a guy who's a mensch too.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, he's amazing. Here, Chris, go for it. I'm not
I won't.
musically inclined, I found out.
Yeah, there it is.
All right, these are hanging sculptures. These are found wood musical
And found metal.
concert opportunities, spontaneous creativity unfolding under the blue sky here.
Have you been to this before?
No,
I mean,
I
it
think
is.
so. I think we just discovered it here.
I didn't even know about this path until this trip.
Yeah, isn't this
Weird.
fantastic?
Yeah.
That one's pretty good.
Oh, that's good.
I love this thing.
Yeah, what is that? That looks like
Does it
that.
say made-
Old industrial stuff.
For sure. And look, it says
Milwaukee.
Milwaukee, Wisconsin,
Yeah.
up in the corner.
Made by William Plano, or something like that. It's called Warfield.
Warfield.
I introduce you to Warfield.
I give
It's
you.
a sound garden. Well,
This
that's
is
a
a
name.
name. Oh, it says it right
I
there.
love that band.
It's a sound machine, but we're not in Miami.
Exactly.
This, this is
Whoa.
it's like a little mini Storm King.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
Except I don't think you can play the
Well, they don't like it when
sculptures.
you just go
No, they
bang
don't
on their
like
sculptures.
to take things
But
and
you
hit them.
do it anyway.
Yeah. Well, how can you resist?
Art.
Okay, we've been doing a great job of kind of bouncing through both history and philosophy.
Yes.
And I think this is a wonderful conversation. I want to get to the birth of motto,
Yeah.
the modern version of motto, and the growth of motto. Because I know every time I've been on a call with you guys, it's not just the two of you sitting on the end of your bed
No.
working in the back of a studio apartment.
No.
This is a large operation that juggles a lot of different things. A lot of filmmakers endeavor to get in front of you. And I think the more they understand kind of where you started, where you're going, what you're who you are, they can figure out maybe what you're looking for and
I mean,
slide into your DMs.
Looking for something new. a new way to look at things, a new way to see the world. It's
A story that hasn't been told
a
before.
story that hasn't been told before. That's great.
I remember talking to you about your film with the letters. I was
Yep.
like, that's such an original idea. And also you had this like wealth of material that was like nobody had ever seen before.
Yeah.
There's things like that. We have a project right now where they've been seen, but it's like the idea of kind of reading material that people haven't really been familiar with. And that's going to be like a component of it. It's exciting.
Well, so how did you get to how did the beginning of Motto
That's a
turn into who you are now?
We never reflect on this stuff. We're just like going 1,000 miles.
There's a Tory quote that he says, if you stop to look at what you're doing, you're not doing it anymore. And I know that that's really simple, but I thought I always thought, I was like, I agree with that. I think that you just keep going and you feel good. I do feel this. I feel like when the film is done, when we walk out after the like it's we EQ'd and everything, I do feel like, and it should be okay on its own.
I will say,
Or
okay,
have to
so
do
but like
anything
to the
else.
question that you asked, because we are like seem to be side.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's quite all right. There's no wrong answers, although I do want to fold in notes.
So we started with Buck, as Chris said.
Yeah.
So that was like the beginning, and we just kind of took off from there. It was like kind of a wonderful ethos to work with. As Chris mentioned, like it was somebody who was an emerging filmmaker, and that was something we did a lot of at the beginning, work with new filmmakers.
That's fine.
And that even like working with Roger, it was his first feature, you know, things like that. Everything that we did was like kind of building these relationships and these foundations with teams and filmmakers that were like excited to join this adventure as we were. So it went from pretty quickly, we started to develop and work on a lot of films in the early days. And it just kind of snowballed.
Perfect timing.
And, you know, you mentioned Life Animated, WEINER, those were the same year.
No, those are the same year. Interesting. Yeah.
Big year.
Seems like they were.
So it was a crazy year.
That was a crazy.
That is a crazy year.
You managing both of those because they were two just different
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
energies and
There's a huge amount of anxiety
there's a
around
lot of
WEINER.
anxiety about the effect,
Yeah.
Sure.
and because the election was coming up.
Yeah, there was a, yeah.
Yeah.
That was an intense experience. But, you know, to that end, the idea was like, okay, what if we get distribution before Sundance and we go in with like with cover, essentially.
Right.
And that
Did that happen?
did.
Great.
We took it out with Josh Braun at Submarine, and it went to Showtime and IFC Films.
Cool.
Two places that no longer are doing
The no
documentaries.
Right. Well, going back to, I like what you said about how our industry is always in flux.
Yeah.
Richard Linklater has this great quote about AI where he basically said our industry has been dying since it was born. And that it's always, it's still progressing. Here we are, you know, 100 plus years later, films are still vital and relevant. And so, as you guys...
News of my demise is very exaggerated, but it's
Right.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, so we often talk about doom and gloom in terms of the documentary landscape. I want to hear some positive things about the documentary landscape from you guys right now.
Absolutely.
I mean, you know, kind of in a weird way, having the shortlist with 3 streamers, each having a film, is a positive thing, because the kind of excuse, well, you know, it's so hard for us because internally, you know, we support these films and then we get shut out. You know, now they don't.
Right.
And there's 2 independent films as well.
And I have to say about, that's not a film that's, even though it was under, crime, people stayed with that film.
Yeah.
Which means that they're ready for challenging. Sure. They don't need to be led by the nose. And a lot of things, we do have films where, it's always like, well, why don't we just say it? And it's like, no, it's better to show it.
Right.
And that's, I think, how that,
But I think that is a positive, because there's always the politics of it, right? And we want to have an ecosystem that supports independence and where you can have an independent film and also have it acquired for distribution, and where you can have films that are supported early on by funders or even, end users. If you can mix that up, and if we can kind of keep that going and realize like there are huge audiences if you do it right. And that's the thing. There's so many people looking into what to do and how to solve this problem of the documentary space, the theatrical space, all of it. And I think they're going to come up with interesting ideas. I don't think they're all going to be great, and I don't think they're all going to work, but I think some kind of Frankenstein of them will be interesting.
Yeah, and I like what you just said there too. What I heard in that was that if you do it well, it may not be getting a theatrical release, but it'll still find an audience. And that's really the key, is like, if you make good work, it will find an audience, whether it's a YouTube series or a feature doc.
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about those like YouTube series of it all. Is there an expanded platform? We're back in the coal miner tunnel. So let's talk about the hardest part of our job, and then remember that we're not waking up at 4 a.m. to go down into the mines, which is
this is not. We have it pretty good.
Yeah, I have to remind myself. But so where is this industry going, right? And where is the platform or the tactic or the rethink that you are excited about, that you think you might embrace, or some of the filmmakers you're working with are dabbling in?
Yeah, I mean, I think YouTube is going to be, it's where it's going to go. I mean, there's kind of not much of a doubt that that's going to be a big play. And I don't know what that's going to mean in terms of like actual revenue streams.
Thank you.
And I think that's the thing that we have to figure out. But the audience is there, and we have to be able to like find a way, if we're going to do a 90-minute film, how do we then have that film in ways that can either entice people with like what's digestible to different audiences to bring them in to then watch the whole film, or to parse the film, if it's that kind of film that can be done that way, into sections that they can watch and then keep watching serialized. So I mean, I think we just have to be very open-minded right now, because it's a pivot point.
Yeah. Well, and the numbers are staggering. Like when you talk about the amount of people watching YouTube versus watching literally anything else, including Netflix, it's just not even a contest. I mean, it's just, I wish I had the numbers at tip of my tongue, but it's startling. I mean, like so many people are just consuming videos on YouTube.
My biggest question is, are they watching full movies, or are they watching snippets and things? Because like that kind of metric would be really interesting if this were a platform that could be moved forward. I know that like I use YouTube to find obscure old movies that I missed when I was a kid, and and you can find them. But like, so you can watch an entire movie there. So it has the capacity to do it. The question is if the culture can continue going the way it's going, which is clearly a working culture, and yet still be able to pull in longer form material that's made specifically for it. Right now they host what was made for other purposes. So it'll be interesting if they could, I'm not sure how it would work.
Yeah, I think we're all trying to figure it out. I mean, and that's actually one reason why we started doing this show, is just the idea of like telling stories in a new way, connecting with storytellers, trying to parse this idea and just basically celebrate the art form that we love too. And I feel like kind of goes back to what you said, Julie, where if you just are sort of telling stories that you love and trusting they will get out in the world, it's a lot of work to get it out into the world. But if you have a group of people that are determined and use an experience and relationships, you will be able to find a place. It's been very rare that we haven't had a film, I don't know if ever, that didn't find a home in any way. I don't think any film we've done has never found a home.
We've been fortunate enough to...
But sometimes it takes a while.
Oh, it takes, sometimes we're working on something that we're making a film that we're working on for 9 years. That has happened, so you didn't intend to do that.
Find a home.
But it better find a home.
Sounds like you built a home. You need to build a home.
But I mean, kind of to your point about motto, and like, so we have a group of people that work there, and
they're really committed.
Yeah, and they're like, we kind of people come in as interns or as assistants, and then they become APs, researchers, co-producers, producers.
Yeah.
And
we trust them. They're really
yeah,
good, and we all work.
and they have
we're all a little
trained
obsessive.
in kind of like our ethos, the way that we work, in our kind of system that we have. And so we don't have any questions. Like, and if they go, Marissa went to A24
Yes.
and Carolyn went to ESPN, or like as people move on.
Marissa Torres?
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't know she started with you guys.
Oh, yeah, for like 7 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know her
She's
through
wonderful.
A24 from
Yeah.
Clements and A24.
Yeah. She's from Texas.
Yes, that's
Yeah.
it. We had a lot.
That's
of
something that we do love.
Yeah, she's from Austin.
We,
Yeah,
we
she's
also
great.
have great interns. Like the interns themselves, like if they don't
Suddenly you
become
see
part
them
of
in,
Motto,
like, the
they're in
system
other
somewhere,
things.
and then they're working.
Right.
That's so cool.
That's
That's
my
so
dream,
cool.
that I'll be
Yeah.
pitching to somebody who was an intern.
Well, like like we shot the scene at the beginning. You guys know this is a small circle that we
Oh, yeah.
operate in, and
It's the
we all know
tiniest
each
of
other.
worlds.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, we like to finish the episodes with what we call a speed round, which we often are not very speedy about, but
Okay.
consists of just
I'm
a couple
excited.
questions. We hope that this is a podcast that people who are just starting out in film can get a lot from. So what would your advice be to somebody who is making their first feature, let's say?
Before I do that, I just want to point out the show of force.
Heavy police presence here.
That's a show of force. I just had to.
That's great.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's like such a great thing to see right now.
The-
I would say what's really important is to make alliances with other people for the films. I mean, that's really key. Look for other people who you want to work with who have done films that are similar. That maybe like, there's a lot of programs where you like pitch, whether it's Hot Docs, I don't even know if they do it anymore, or Sundance, or any of these places where you pitch, and try to go to something like that and see what it's like to kind of how you present a film, so that you can watch a lot of that online.
Right.
So get an understanding of how, because it's really important how you show the sizzle, if you have one, or some scenes from it, or a deck. And it's really important how you present that and how you get that out there. And there's so many tools online to figure out what the best way to go is. And then there's also ways to find people if there's films that you love and there's somebody who was like a co-producer on that film. Well, maybe they're looking to be a producer.
Right.
And you have the same kind of mindset as they do. And that, to me, seems like a good way to find like alliances with others.
Gotcha.
Building
Okay.
community, forming alliances. I mean, when you describe like those pitch scenarios, I've given the exact same advice. It was the advice I was given when I started: was go to Hot Talks, go to the pitch forum. I watched Waltz with Bashir get pitched, and to say that didn't change my life would be a lie.
Yeah.
Like that moment, being in that room and realizing like, oh, animation documentary is a thing. That could be a thing. I never knew that before that moment. But I also saw professionals at a table kind of giving feedback.
Yeah.
And I saw filmmakers in the audience. The audience was filled with filmmakers, all trying to figure out. I feel like you said, I don't even know if that thing still exists. I don't know if it still exists either.
It's not in the same form it used to be. Now there's like round tables and things like that. And it did get to be like a little bit of like, annoying high school where there were like people who were like at the table who would be, really critical so that they could look good in front of their other friend at the table. And I'm like, you're going to get $5,000.
They might have been sleeping with on their international trips.
Yeah, exactly. And you're going to give us $5,000 and you're putting us through the fucking ringer. So, yeah.
Right.
But I would also say, to Julie's point, that the reason you're looking for other people is because you're testing your ideas. Like we all are in our own head and we like our ideas, but the people that you collaborate with are the people you trust, and you can show them your ideas unvarnished, which is the best way to assess whether they're working or not, and how to fix them if they're not working. And that to me is like always been really, really helpful.
Yeah.
Collaboration has always given great insight to correct things, to move in the direction you want. And the most important thing, don't get mad at the people who give you notes.
Yeah.
If they're telling you something you want to hear,
So good.
that's perfectly fine. Take it in. Why? Because they came up with that on their own independently, which means it's in your film.
Yeah.
And if you don't want that in your film,
Right.
they've just told you it's in your film, and you don't want to go to your premiere and have everybody see that.
Right.
And that's your best friend.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
just say, okay, I'll think about it. You don't have to like.
You don't have to
get into
commit.
it. Yeah.
And a lot of times what we do is we'll talk to somebody and we'll say, there's a deficiency here, but there's a thematic deficiency. There's something missing. But looking at the way you've told this story, we can see several different ways where you can set the audience so they understand when you get here they'll understand what that means. Right now, you haven't done it,
Right.
and so as a result, they're just going to breeze through that. And you think they're picking something up that's essential,
Yeah.
and they're not. And that's kind of what I think we do. Like we do the wing people, watching for that to
Right.
help the filmmaker make sure that they don't trip over that.
That's cool. Next question is, what was the gateway drug film documentary for you guys that you saw that you were like, I want to do this. I want to make docs.
For documentaries,
Yes.
probably Gates of Heaven for you.
Gates of Heaven.
Well, you said Gateway. I was like, that's a good one.
Yes.
I-
And what
I
is it
loved
about
it.
Gates of Heaven?
Because it's not about a pet cemetery. It's
Yeah.
about a family and desperation, living in that. Like, I loved American Family, if you know that
Yeah.
series.
The
Yeah.
PBS, sure.
But Gates of Heaven, I think accomplished in one go. Like what American Family did, that was an American family, and the desperation and the loss. When the son is playing his guitar with his amplifier over the, I'm like,
cemetery.
there are no words. You just need to
Right.
watch that, and you're there.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Beautiful.
I
That's
would
great.
say it's Harlan County, USA. My mom took me to see it in the movies, and
Yeah.
she was at that time trying to organize a union at a place, and so it was it was an interesting moment to see it.
Have you ever talked to Barbara about it?
Oh yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I love Barbara. Yeah, no, I told her that absolutely.
It's one of the most incredible things about this industry is we're inspired by great artists and great stories, and then if we're lucky enough, oh, thank you, Matt. Then, if we're lucky enough to get a foot in the door,
Yeah.
you get to meet those great artists
Exactly.
and engage with those great stories from an entirely different angle.
And maybe work with them.
Yeah. Is there?
Yeah.
Besides Barbara, is there anyone else? Barbara Koppel, of course, you're talking about, but
Yeah.
anyone else that kind of checks that box for you?
Like if you worked with Errol, for
No, we
example.
haven't worked with him.
No,
Yeah.
no, I love his stuff.
I mean, Steve James was.
Steve James was he's really a good collaborator.
We did
had a
Advocates,
wonderful
with
time. We did
like
Advocates with
huge
him.
fans of Hoop Things, of
Yeah.
course, and so
Yes.
yeah, that was really special to work with him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like meeting Fred Wiseman or meeting Al Maisels or Emily or Chris Hedges, like all of those people.
Last question, which is, what can you not stop thinking about right now? And it doesn't have to be film related. Like, what is the thing that you are just waking up thinking about, falling asleep at night with rattling around in your head? What are you thinking about?
I mean, we're pitching a film here, and so I've been thinking about that film a lot. And, you know, we've kind of had conversations at night and had conversations in the morning, so I think that that's been in my head a lot.
You may have caught us on that track.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
you say that, because like we have the other 8 tracks, but we haven't actually looked at those and
Yeah,
for-
we've been really so focused on that.
because we
but
got
in
the
general,
team to hold to they're holding.
I mean, the world is like, you know, I don't know, this morning what we were talking about is like, what's the deal with that Barron Trump story? That's a weird one.
Oh,
Check
I
it
didn't even
out.
know it.
Check it out, people. It's
Okay.
very weird.
Is that
So,
right?
like,
He's not Trump's son, and he's that other guy.
No. He has some weird connection.
In
to
any
some-
other scheme of reality, this would have been the biggest story. It's just so
he
mysterious.
called a 911. He called in 911 in the UK from here for some woman that was being beat up by a guy from Russia. He was on Zoom with.
What?
Yeah.
This is
anyway.
why we
I
need
was just
investigative
like,
journalists.
Both of us
We
read
need
it
more of
separately,
that.
and we were like, "Did you see that Barron Trump thing?" Anyway, but like what we're thinking about is like the world is imploding, and we're trying to, you know, tell good stories, and
Right.
and we're trying to not be distracted all the time by what is happening, which is pretty hard to do
Yeah.
in every part of it.
I will.
Wow. Well, and not only like politically, but just we have a distraction machine 24 hours a day in our pocket that is just trying to maximize our attention, not for good purposes.
Trying so hard not to get lost in that and really
Exactly.
focus on the being with people. Like that's what's
Right.
really nice about being here.
Yeah.
Is just seeing everybody and actually connecting with people.
Right.
You know, you get sick of it after 2 days, but the first 2 days are fun.
Yeah, I recommend going on for an hour-long walk with them.
I've heard that's great.
Yeah.
I would just say very quickly that the end has always been nigh. I've read
Yeah.
through. I was going to die in a nuclear holocaust. I was assured of it by
Sure.
my adults, friends, and somehow we always sort of squeak through. And I think it's a really ugly time right now, but I remembered when W was president, and I thought this is the lowest stage we've ever been. And I'm like, I'll never say that again.
Yeah.
And, eternal vigilance. We just have to we can build it all back.
Yep.
All they did was break everything.
Right.
We're smart. We can figure out how to put it back together.
Well, and ugly times often produce amazing works of art.
Utterly.
Yes.
Yeah.
Utterly.
That is
Innovation
right now.
goes crazy during bad
Yeah.
times.
Yes. So there is that silver lining.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you,
Congrats
Pete.
on the short film. We didn't really talk about that. Can we
Oh,
just
yeah.
get the one-liner on
Sure.
what the one
It's,
representing?
Yes, it's about a community that's along the Mississippi River in New Orleans that's being kind of reclaimed by the river, and how they are handling that, and it's quite beautiful.
In a non-activist way. They're not trying to fix it. They live among it. They recognize it, that the Mississippi has changed its banks, it's moved around all the time, and they're accepting of it. Somebody had built in this bowl, they've lived a wonderful lives, and they have these people who are still there, and they're like, when it goes, but for now.
It's very kind of evocative and philosophic. It's really
What's the title and who's the filmmaker?
Some Kind of Refuge. Alexandra Kern is the director, and Colin Catterett is the producer.
Great.
Cool. It sounds beautiful. It sounds a little bit like Werner Herzog's Volcano movie, where he goes to the active volcano and interviews the people who stay.
Yeah.
Werner is another one that I love.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. You never know what you're going to get from him. He's amazing.
Yeah.
It's terrific.
So if he's listening, Werner, work with Motto Pictures.
Oh, if you
Contact
would,
you, Chris.
we'd love to do that. Oh, you're brilliant.
Thank you guys so much. This is experience.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for everything. We are going to let them get going, and we are going to move on down Main Street to our next interview. We'll catch you guys next week on DocWalks.
This episode is sponsored in part by the Austin Film Society, the 40-year-old film institution founded by Richard Linklater. Austin Film Society supports nonfiction filmmaking year-round through its monthly Doc Nights series at AFS Cinema, along with its annual documentary film festival, Doc Days, held every May. Learn more at austinfilm.org. This episode is also sponsored by The Longtime. The Longtime is a one-of-a-kind event space located in Austin, Texas, hosting everything from sandlot baseball to commercial film shoots. Art exhibitions to surprise weddings, it's the perfect home for your next creative gathering. The Longtime is the home of the Texas Playboys Baseball Club, the host of the annual Wizard Rodeo, and available for private events year-round. Learn more at thelongtime.com.
Next time on DocWalks, we are off Main Street and walking the icy slopes near the Park City Library with Joy Bubbles director Rachel J. Morrison. This is an exciting chance to dig into the life of an archival producer turned first-time documentary maker, to slip and slide your way around Park City, and to learn all about the secret life of phone freak Joy Bubbles. Next time on DocWalks.
DocWalks is created, produced, and edited by my friend Ben Steinbauer of The Bear.
Hello. And my friend Keith Maitland of Go Valley.
Thanks for tuning in.
Follow us at DocWalks Pod on Instagram, X, and YouTube.